Hey everyone, VSO Marketing Manager here with Matt Wright, our principal trombone player, calling in from New Orleans. Hey Matt.
Hey Margot, how are you?
Just chilling at home. How are
Yeah.
you?
I'm doing the same, quite a bit of the same.
Yeah, that seems to be what happens these days. So what was a typical work day like for you back before the pandemic?
Generally, I was a lot busier. I was, I have a full-time job down in New Orleans, teaching, or not teaching, um, playing with the Louisiana Philharmonic, and then I moonlight with Vermont when I can. So, and I teach on the side, and I just have a bunch of other projects. So a typical day isn't necessarily a consistent thing that I can count on. But
Mm-hmm.
just generally, it's a busy day. Um, uh, Usually going rehearsal at 10, uh, maybe a break, another rehearsal, then I spend the rest of the evening teaching. Um, yeah, and just not killing my students.
Yeah, that's usually good. Um, so what's a typical day like for you now? I see you're still getting suited up in your white tie concert attire.
Yeah, put me in, coach. I'm ready to play. Um,
Dress for the job you want is what everyone always says.
not even, yeah, it's just for the job you want back. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I put on the tails once in a while uh, just to remind myself what I'm supposed to be doing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
But so what are you doing now? What's a typical day like?
right. Your actual question. Right. I've been uh, just basically putting together some really stupid videos
Which I've loved.
with yeah, just me doing stupid things. I think the VSO actually shared one of the videos.
Yep.
Yeah, and
Shared a few.
yeah, and I've been teaching online, which is really frustrating. Not because of the kids, but because of the the online thing. It's not sound, and that's very. It's not real sound, and it's just so it's like talking to somebody about sound quality when you hear them over the phone, and it's just it's really frustrating.
Yeah. I bet especially with brass, like, all the overtones and things you'd probably normally be working on with a student are kind of not coming through the little computer speakers.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, because music, so much of music is because people are in the other room,
Right.
and it bums me out when because like a lot of people are doing these videos with like a click track and then
Hmm.
you play your part, then other people will put stuff together, and I said I'm putting a couple of those together for people, and yeah, it just reminds me that I don't have a job. It's I'm just not a fan of making those videos.
Uh-huh.
Sorry,
Um,
but also I'm watching a lot of old baseball things, and I'm reading a lot. I'm like halfway through Willie Mays' current autobiography, which came out a
nice.
few years ago, which is great. Um, and what else? Oh, I'm watching old professional wrestling things and catching
Nice.
on old talk radio things on YouTube, and I bought a video game that makes me sound really old. Uh, but yeah, not because I bought it getting it, but because the way I said it. Um, yeah, I don't know. I've been trying to keep busy. It's just yeah, I just with a lot of people, I think we all want to be busy right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. Um, what's something people might not realize about being a professional trombone player? Like if you had to pick one thing that you want people to know.
Sure. I think being a professional trombone player, um, one of the reasons I like it is because you can fit the trombone pretty much anywhere. Uh,
Hmm.
and I mean, you hear it, you know. just downtown in New Orleans, just in the trad bands or the big brass bands that do second lines. And you hear it in opera, and it started out as a church instrument. So you hear it a lot in church music and opera and symphonies, and then but also ska bands and Blood, Sweat and Tears in Chicago and Earth, Wind and Fire, and any good Motown band has a trombone player in it. Yeah, and you can also do just a bunch of weird stuff with it, which I also really, really like. So I think that being a professional trombone player, it is surprising because I think it's the most versatile instrument, and I don't think everyone else would immediately think of the trombone as being as versatile as it actually is. But it might not be a up in front, I need attention all the time instrument, but we do make up for that in volume.
That you do.
Yeah. We're a lot like I'm supposed to do the summer tour was canceled, obviously, and I was supposed to be the soloist on the summer tour this summer, and so I had all my shtick. Like, I've been working on my shtick, and one of the things I was going to say right before I play my thing, the microphone on tour, was trombone players are the relief pitchers of the orchestra. They come in at the end. They can screw it up for everybody if they mess up, and they usually make really poor choices in facial hair.
You're not wrong. So with all your different, genres that you can play and all your trombone adventures you've been on, I know you have some weird gig stories because you've shared some. If you had to pick a short story, what's the weirdest show you've ever played?
Sure. Well, there was this one time I was playing with an orchestra, and some of my friends in the admin said, "Hey, why don't you come to this gig? Our friend, who's the marketing director, plays in an Usher cover band." I was like, "What? Really?" And they're like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, obviously, the person plays drums or bass or something." No, she plays trumpet in the.
It's a story about a show you played. This is a story about my gig.
Well, I have to be honest. I was not expecting to work with anyone in an Usher cover band. I didn't even know that Usher had enough repertoire to have an entire tribute ensemble.
He has so much work. Like, for every Usher hit that you heard, there's about 3 R&B slow jam albums out there that you haven't heard. So there's a lot.
Sure. Yeah, I know he has a lot of stuff. I just didn't know that it was ubiquitous enough to form an ensemble in Burlington, Vermont about it. So
it is, and luckily we snuck in our Valentine's Day show before the pandemic hit, because Valentine's Day is obviously our biggest show of the year for that show.
Or as Usher would say, or not Usher, but yeah.
Yeah. Wait, but so did you want to share a gig story, or were you just deflecting onto my weird gig?
It could be both. Why not? I once played a bar mitzvah that a friend of mine called me up, and I was living in New York at the time, and they said, "Matt, what are you doing Saturday?" I'm like, nothing, because I just moved to New York and I didn't know anybody. I was like, "All right, well, call this number and say you can do it." I'm like, "All right, sure." So I call the number, and the guy picks up, and he's like, "Hello." I'm like, "Hi, this is about Saturday night." And I'm like, he's like, "You know what to do?" I'm like, "Yep." He's like, "All right, do that." I'm like, "Great." So what we were supposed to do, which I found out, there's a gig up on Craigslist, and it was just a phone number and a promise of money. And so we went to Cipriani's Wall Street, which is where the MTV Award, they have their post MTV Award parade, not parades. I'm such a New Orleanian. Not a parade, party after post award, so reception or whatever, or like that's where the Yankees have all their benefit things and stuff. Like it's a big deal, right?
Yeah.
And bring my trombone, and I show up, and what we're supposed to do. Well, there are 3 lines, an orchestra, or just usually like in a horseshoe kind of thing. But for us, there were 3 lines. The first line was very, very attractive violin players. And then the second line was very, very attractive woodwind players. And then the third line were brass players. And all we had to do was sit there and look like we were playing while classical music went over the screen. So like literally I'd be sitting there just like, like this, maybe moving slide once in a while if I'm feeling fancy. But at the time I kind of had this crush on this flute player, and my best friend at the time, still is, he plays oboe, and she was dating a trumpet player. So we decided to switch instruments because we didn't actually have to play them. So I have actually played a gig on oboe. I didn't play much. I did look the part.
I'm sure you did.
Bouncing around, and I was just trying to, just doing. I
bet you did like the oboe face too.
Oh yeah. I couldn't get the cobra neck thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
People.
That probably takes a while longer to establish that technique.
At least 2 college degrees.
Yeah. Well, my last question is maybe an easy one or a hard one, but what's your favorite Ben and Jerry's flavor?
Yeah, I've watched the other interviews, and I'm just like, crap, she's gonna ask me this, and then I'm gonna choose. Gabe was right in that the toffee coffee, whatever, but I used to like it when it was toffee Heath Bar Crunch.
Mm-hmm.
I think the dropping of the brand name, something's different.
They did change the recipe because it was when they stopped using genetically modified ingredients.
Oh, that's what it was? And
I think so because that's, I might be spreading information, or spreading misinformation, but I think that was around the same time that the stuff kind of changed.
Have you seen my Facebook feed? I think that little, even if what you said is false, I don't think that's going to be as detrimental as fake news as other things. So you're okay. Well, thanks. Oh, favorite Ben and Jerry's. As you can tell, I have eaten a lot of Ben and Jerry's. So I'll give you my Mount Rushmore of Ben and Jerry's, which I just came up with. It sounded like I prepared this question, but I did not. So Mount Rushmore, which means I got to do 4, and I just rejected coffee Heath Bar Crunch. I'll say they have an oatmeal cookie thing.
Yes.
New that it's a couple of years, but I've had a lot of that. I really like it doesn't have a cool name, but it's just chocolate peanut butter cup. Sometimes it comes out as a special edition. Sometimes I can get it in New Orleans, but other times when I'm on summer tour, I usually go to the factory and that's my go-to. So I guess I should say that's my favorite, but I got to give you 2 more just to make sure this interview is super long and awkward. Because now I have
the best part is this was supposed to be 5 minutes, but now we got like 20 minutes of great stories. So.
Right. Well, sorry everybody. If you're still listening, if you're still watching, thank Margot for making this interesting. Oh man, they're used. Cinnamon buns. That's 3 cinnamon buns.
Okay.
Not as. And I think I'm gonna go just half baked. I think half baked is just a solid. A lot of people say Cherry Garcia, but I think half baked is. I think that's a good ice cream too. That needs love and respect, as ice cream does.
So now that you've made the Mount Rushmore analogy, a good crafting project for you might be to carve them into stone. We've got a little more spare time right now.
To learn sculpture, sure. Yeah. I have no gigs now, but I mean, David is still standing somewhere in Italy, right? So like I could do a sculpture, and I could still continuing. I could get is Michelangelo still getting paid for David? Because that's still happening.
I don't know what happens in the afterlife, so
all right.
Your guess is as good as mine.
Got it.
All right. Well, thanks for chatting with me, Matt. It's been a joy.
Thanks,
As
Mark.
always.
Good luck editing this.
Thank you.